Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the YouTube account. And don't forget the towers. We stress this a lot. We did on the live stream yesterday. Looking at the towers and thinking of it, we have went up 33 floors in the regular King's Tower, which means we just farmed 33 floors of diamonds. Not only that is when we hop out of here, and again, you cannot forget these towers. They yield an incredible amount of loot. Is once we come out of here and we actually go to our quest, you can see there's another 400 diamonds for every 10 floors that we did. So if you remember where we were at the live stream yesterday, we burned through a lot of diamonds. We're almost at 10,000 diamonds again, which is kind of crazy because again, farming out these King's Towers. Now I do have the Celestial Sanctum and the Infernal Fortress are completely maxed out. All the other towers are almost at 1,200 plus, which again is kind of crazy when you start thinking of the scale of 1,200 floors of loot times 4 towers, 880 floors of loot times 2 towers. And then of course, the majority of the King's Tower, we're at 1,787. Still got to push this a little bit further to get some more loot. Now, in addition, we did finish out the King's Sale. That is right. We came in number 1. We got the diamonds. We also got our Stargazer scrolls. And also we did get the Arena diamonds or the Arena of Heroes daily diamonds. But we wanted to talk about the patch notes for a little bit because of course, Villain, I just call it Villain, is going to be up. So overall, a lot of players are saying it's going to be super interesting seeing a Mauler hero that has that energy disintegration. We know there's going to be quite a bit that is coming behind it, but wait to build the hero. I cannot stress it enough when it comes to AFK Arena. Wait to build the hero to see exactly where they're being used. Now, of course, the Dreamy Garden is just going to give us a free hero. The Heroes of Aspria and the Dragon's Gift is going to give us free heroes when we're going through there. Misty Valley is coming back. Star Zone, we know, is already being able to go in there right now. And then, of course, we're adding some more to the campaign, some more to the buildings. That's really it. So when it comes to the patch overall, it is pretty basic when you think, again, kind of big picture of where the patch is at and how much content we're going to get from it or how many new things. Not really many, very many new things at all. Now, I want to talk about the Temple Rift as well, because we just got access to the rest of the Temple Rift floors. Making sure you're pushing this when it comes to AFK Arena, when it comes to the ability to essentially go through an incredible amount of content, you never want to stop. You always want to be pushing the content in this game. It is the way that essentially you are going to make your progression. So I want to go through here and show you, we have empty hero slots. Let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and challenge. So looking in here, I just want to run through the 3 teams that I'm using right now because we went through 100 floors in here, and you can see we have the Awakened version of Belinda. We do have Rowan in here. Now, again, when you start putting badges behind these heroes, it makes a really big difference on their performance. Also provides some crowd control. Palmer's in here for a buffer. Ivan in here for a buffer on Belinda. Then, of course, the energy regeneration from the original version of Aziz. Also, the attack rating debuff works perfectly. Panda in here for the little dive bomb to, again, provide some crowd control. Now with this one, we are running the Cloud Tempest. Now every so many floors, you can see all of our little sub badges are gone because they actually reset. I believe it's every 20 floors, but we know we have the SP effect in here, and we know we do, and we can add some collections on here. Make sure they're added. I don't know why. I went through here and we seen a couple different formations. I had the collections added in here. When you go through other game modes and you switch it essentially around with different heroes, a lot of players don't realize that still the collections are kind of funky when it comes to where the collections are being used in different formations. So make sure that you're running through here and you're actually adding in the collections that are here. And of course, we have Rowan's collection. The collections overall, I don't have a ton of them built up super high. So unfortunately, with the collections itself, and a lot of you can kind of attest to this, it's been super difficult to really make any progression at all within the collections to just continue getting extra copies or getting a lot of copies of the collections themselves. So it's been kind of a sticky point for a lot of players because essentially you can't get any of the arcane staffs. So I quit buying the arcane staffs a little while ago, which means there is no way to get any of the collections, which again, I think is kind of silly when you think about it because we don't have the ability to get any of the collections. But let's go ahead. We'll throw some on here. And ultimately, putting some on here is going to be a lot better than literally having nothing on here because it is going to give them additional stats. It's going to give them additional buffs. There's going to be, a lot of different things on here. Even the ability, because right here, like with Sophia and with Merlin. Both of them are going to get Rowan's little cart. So that can be an absolute game changer, which maybe that one was on Aziz. No, and then of course the third one, we just had one right here. Halos is another one. Don't use a lot of times, but you can see we have a lot of kind of basic collections on here. And when you're putting the basic collections on here or putting a collection on here in general, it is going to provide some sort of stats, some sort of relief in there. Then of course we can auto battle. This was updated last time. Stop after reaching the beckoning place. We don't want to stop when it gets to the beckoning place. We want it to continue going. Every time that I keep running this, it hits the beckoning place, and that's where it would stop. Stop when the hero dies. That's okay. I'm okay with the hero not dying. Now going through here, we are only building out one single node of the actual, and I'm drawing a blank on the name of it, but the actual building, the stability in there, which I'll show you guys right now. We'll go ahead, we'll finish this one out. Boom, stability really doesn't change. Get some badges in there. It'll pick all of the first ones right here. And there we go. So we'll hop in our second floor. But looking at what we're building within the beacon, within the temporal beacon, like I've said before, the only thing that we're building is this trade enhancer. Since I do have a little bit because of purchases within AFK Arena, we could do a couple more in here, but trade enhancer is really all that you need to focus on. If you're a free-to-play player, chances are you're not going to build any more than the trade enhancer. That is going to be kind of where you're stuck. And then, of course, over here, we have all of these that players really don't use. It kind of stinks that, one, they don't give us enough resources to really build these out into any meaningful amount. And again, trade enhancer, just because look at the amplification for the attributes. It is kind of crazy that is really the one that you need to go ahead and build. Now, of course, when it comes to the bosses, you might have to swap around some formations. Just keep that in mind when you're going through here. But I remember when they came in and essentially they built out the Temporal Rift, we got to a certain point within the Temporal Rift that we could go through and just kind of dominate. And then, of course, they added collections on top of that. They added the plus 40 signature items. I don't think they accounted for, or they built out a lot more of the Temporal Rift or raised the level a lot within the Temporal Rift to essentially compensate or really put it in the same level that we've seen with all of the additional power, the power creep that we've been seeing. And you can see, I mean, going through here, it's pretty easy. I went the first, I believe, 89 floors before I even seen a defeat on my other team or when I ran this last time. It's a pretty good build out, especially looking, there we go, Halos died. He might be one that might be a little bit more on the outdated side, meaning that we're probably not going to use them anymore. Floor is due. That brings us up, I believe, up to 1,000 again. Yep, brings us up to 1,000 again. So again, going through here, it is literally just going to be the ability to farm all of these. Now, when it comes to loot, this is the other part of essentially going through the Temporal Rift. It gives you a silly, silly amount of loot, which is absolutely crazy. You don't want to miss any of the loot that we have in here. And again, Halos side, I'm going to have to swap and change out Halos. And there we go. So it'll upgrade our badges in there. Boom, we'll go into the realm of exploration. I still have 2 more teams in here that I can actually build, so I can add somebody in there. But again, when we're looking at the loot, not only the ability to get a lot of chests out of here, you're getting some right there. You're getting some red chests out of here, but starting to look down here, not only getting some baits out of there, but you're looking at some cores, also looking at those Medal of Courage. Now, when it comes to the Medal of Courage and everything else within the award selection, I wouldn't buy the copies of Eugene. Now, again, we kind of talked about this a little bit before. I wouldn't buy the copies of Eugene because you're going to be able to get them out of the guild store. It might take a little bit longer to get the copies out of there, out of the guild store, but you know he's going to. And honestly, these, in my opinion, are a lot more valuable than what we see in the guild store. So I would absolutely not buy him. Even looking at Taylene, looking at Brutus and Aziz, heroes that are not really being used. Solus, if you're building Solus, a lot of players already do have her built, but if you're building her possibly, well, my thought would be getting these out. Getting the time emblems, and then of course after you have all those time emblems bought out of here, is getting those Stargazer scrolls would be the second priority to really build out of here, making sure that you get them, because essentially these heroes have a really, really big power creep at this point. They were actually the first season. Now we're in the 3rd season of getting the new heroes. So when we get the Mauler, the Wilder, and the Greyborn, which are the awakened heroes that we still have coming in 2024, you're going to have enough cards to go ahead and pick those up. Now, in addition, remember, we are getting the rate adjustments. It should be not the patch we just kind of looked at. It might be the next patch or the patch following that. So it could be another 2 weeks or another 4 weeks before we see the rate adjustment within the Noble Tavern. So make sure that you're saving your resources because this is going to go to 2.5. And then, of course, in here, it's going to go to 2.5. It's going to give you a lot easier time when you're building out these new heroes, getting multiple copies of them with using a lot less resources. And I believe the big driving force of that, or the reason behind it, is because now we have the Dragon Isle, which is taking an incredible amount of resources. So I know Trish had said something about the wish list is looking at the 3 heroes that we can summon out of here. Nyla is really the only one that is being used of the 3. So make sure that you're going in here, only putting Nyla in the wish list and then doing summons for Nyla. Once you have Nyla done, just don't summon anything else. There's not any big driving force to get the rest of these heroes. I'm even looking at Cassius and Pulina. Not a big driving force, again, to build either of those because it doesn't seem like they're super important. Doesn't seem like the effectiveness, not even seeing them anywhere anymore, which is kind of stinks because they are a brand new hero. But all right, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.